Hello, welcome back to the James Ablin Reviews. So, I'm going to talk about unfinished tales and give my thoughts on it. So, I'm going to continue this whole idea about Tolkien, his books, and all that stuff, and more sort of Middle Earthy kind of stuff because it is the month of Rings of Power, and I've established that I want to do this more often. So, unfinished tales, I have it right here. I finished it not too long ago. Basically, these are the unfinished tales of Tolkien's work, and it's like a compilation of his. It's basically like one of those things where you have that thing where it has like it commemorates someone for what they did. So it's like that. So it's like this compilation of things, and it has individual tales that expand the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and Silmarillion, which are the texts that I have covered on this show. But but yeah, there's a lot of texts. There's a lot of different tales in here. Like I'm gonna read some in the back. I do this a lot here because I just want to sort of get an idea of it and all of that, you know, so that like reading it from the back helps as well. So there is the quest of Erebor, Gandalf's lively account of how he came to send the dwarves to Bag End, Gollum's capture by Aragorn, and Sauron's hunt for the ring, the legend of Isildur's death, and the alliance of Gondor and Rohan. There's also the emergence of the sea god Ulmo before the Eyes of Tuor, the history of Galadriel and Celeborn, and the legend of legend of Amroth. All that is known as the dude in the Dwarves, all that stuff. Right, so there's like a lot of stories and there's a lot of tales in this book, and that's kind of the gist there. And it kind of just gives you the Silmarillion. It's kind of like the Silmarillion, where it's like a broad history of Middle Earth, but it's split. It's actually split into four parts. So first of all, you get like the first age, then you get the second age, the third age, and then the fourth part isn't the fourth age because the fourth age doesn't exist at this point. The third age is Lord of the Rings, and then I think the second age is like the Hobbit, and then the second age is either Hobbit, and then the first age is the Silmarillion, or it's around that stuff. But the fourth part of the book is a bunch of other tales, and then it goes into the index and the appendices and that stuff. And the book does rely on notes and like some references to the previous things and its context. So it's like in this age and all that stuff. Because remembering that this isn't actually finished. This isn't actually finished things. So it's just putting things into place and showing you, oh, this happened here, this happened there, and that stuff. And it's you know sad that Tolkien died, but this book is really interesting knowing about this stuff because obviously I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings and Middle Earth, but it's really interesting just knowing and understanding, like especially the history of Galadriel. It was interesting knowing about that. It was interesting knowing about how Gandalf became who he meant to be, and there's reference to Radagast, who's another sort of wizard in the book as well in the Unfinished Tales. So there's definitely like a lot of that, a lot of references to previous things that Tolkien's made. Basically, a love letter to everything you basically love about Lord of the Rings and Silmarillion and The Hobbit. Even though I wasn't really like too big on The Hobbit, I didn't mind the book, but yeah, man. That's kind of like my thoughts on the book itself. I'm gonna cover. I'll cover a lot. I might try and cover the Hobbit movies as well because Hobbit Day's coming up as well. So what I'll do is I'll cover the unexpected journey, then I'll cover the desolation of Smaug and the battle of the five armies. But that's what would I? But yeah, that's like a little side note. But outside of that, what would I give this book? 7 or 8 out of 10. It isn't as good as the Lord of the Rings, but it isn't. It's just really fascinating. Like if you just want to read, like I'll have to say this again, but if you just want to know about history and the history of Middle Earth and understand tales and origins, because there's a lot of origin type things going on in this book. If you want to know all of that, basically, then I do recommend the Unfinished Tales by, well, J.R. Tolkien technically. Yeah, and it was all edited by Christopher Tolkien and that kind of stuff. Yeah, and it says on here, right, just to remind you here, so on the back of the book, right, don't know if you can see it, but at the bottom there, you can see something like another momentum, monument to the incredible imagination of Tolkien, Sunday Telegraph. That's what they said about the book, because it's obvious, it's like a monument of that stuff. So I think that's about it, right? I've covered a lot of Tolkien on this show now, this channel. I'm still going to do the House of the Dragon reviews. So I'm going all out with this fantasy stuff, because I really like fantasy, and it interests me. And hopefully I can probably review more Tolkien books if I can find some more stories. I know there's the Children of Durin, or Durin and his Turin and Hurin, who has children, I think, which is described as in the Silmarillion. But outside of that stuff, that's kind of it for this review. What did we think of the review? Let me know in the comments, even though not a lot of people comment on these videos. So yeah, bye. See you for the Hobbit reviews, I guess. And that's pretty much it for this review. Goodbye. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. All of that stuff. Bye.